The COP23 climate conference taking place in Bonn is entering into its second week. The countries meeting are coming up with a rule book to implement the Paris climate deal to keep global warming within 2 degrees. Now, one of the countries not at the table is Taiwan. That's because it's not a member of the United Nations Framework Convention of Climate Change. But that is certainly not to say that the island hasn't experienced firsthand the effects of climate change. It's subject to frequent typhoons. So how is Taiwan planning on cleaning up its Energy Act?
Severe storms and flooding, most recently in October. This year alone, Taiwan has been battered by extreme weather events. Many experts see this as a sign of climate change in action. In response, the government wants to boost renewable energy generation. Capacity is being ramped up in wind and solar power production. Until now, these renewables have only played a minor role in Taiwan's energy mix, so there's much catching up to do. By 2025, the government wants solar energy to supply 10% of the country's electricity needs. Wind energy is slated to cover 5% of demand. And it's hoped hydropower, biomass and geothermal energy will take Taiwan's green energy share to 20%. The aim is to phase out the country's nuclear power stations, the focus of constant protests. Since Japan's Fukushima plant meltdown, Taiwanese have lost their faith in nuclear. But 80% of Taiwan's electricity would continue to come from fossil fuels, in particular imported coal. So reducing greenhouse gas emissions will remain a major challenge. Taiwan's per capita CO2 emissions are extremely high.
And joining me now in the studio is Taiwan's Minister of the Environment, Mr. Ying Yuan Lee. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, all eyes are on COP23, currently underway in Bonn at the moment. Taiwan is not a signatory to the Paris Agreement. It's not a member of the United Nations. 80% of, your power is made up from fossil fuels. What are you doing about that?
Yeah, so in order to comply with the Paris Agreement, our President Tsai Ing-wen, in an inaugural speech, say we are going to join the fight in challenging the climate change. So first, we are going to restructure the whole energy mix. We are going to cut down the coal energy from 45.5% to 30% by 2025. So, and also we are going to increase the green energy from 5% to 20%. And we will also increase the natural gas from 20% to 50%. So by replacing the coal with the natural gas, we can cut down about 40%. So we are going to cut in together 40% of the carbon dioxide.
Let me just pick you up on that then, because green energy share, after doing the maths, is around 20%. Natural gas is still a fossil fuel, though. So is this just not a distraction from more renewable energy?
In a way, yes. But from the level, the extent of the emission of the carbon dioxide, it does decrease, reduced by 40% compared to the coal. You know, you have so many coal demonstrations just a few days ago.
Right here in Bonn, yeah.
In Bonn,
right here in Germany.
So exactly the same. You are going to phase out the nuclear energy by 2022. We close with 2025. You see the demonstration, it's like the same. So we are going to phase out by 2025. So this is a transition period, but we are determined to comply with the Paris Agreement. We'll do everything we can.
You're determined, but you are not a signatory to the Paris Agreement.
We said about that.
So that means that in some ways you're not part of the rule book that's currently being drawn up. So how then do you make sure the industry in Taiwan does switch to renewable? Do you offer them incentives? Can you police that? Yeah,
because we are also, industrialized state. We rank number 5 in trading volume with Germany in Asia, and some 21, 22 worldwide. Our semiconductor is quite vibrant industry. Polar sun power, plate is also very important. So we are going to introduce this cap and trade system by 2020.
How will that work?
Because we are going to issue the renewable energy certificate to those who comply with the emission standard. So then they can use this certificate as a trading, a target in the future.
Right.
In this emission trading system, they can trade in a carbon trade, into this international carbon market system.
I'm sure you're well aware of the fact, Minister, of course, that renewable energy is one thing. It doesn't always equate to energy efficiency. Taiwan is currently the world's 22nd largest economy. What effect will switching to renewables have on your economic standing? Are you concerned about that?
Oh, yeah. So we have to have good dialogue with the industry. And we are going to provide this renewable energy by location. For example, the central Taiwan is good in wind power. The industry will try to use that kind of wind power in that area. So you would improve the efficiency by cutting down the loss of the energy because of the transportation. And that is supply side. On the demand side, we are also going to introduce this kind of smart grid system so you can more efficiently use the energy that you produced.
OK, Mr. Ying Yuan Lee, Taiwan's Minister of the Environment. Pleasure to have you with us here on DW. Thank you.
Thank you.